Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 110 of my modded Factorio playthrough. In this episode, we are going to finish up with our expanded ingot setup by working on silicon, silver, zinc, and aluminum. Enjoy. The process is actually kind of similar. It's just, instead of blast furnaces, we need chemical furnaces. A lot of these numbers are going to be very similar. So a lot of this can probably just be copied over. Although one difference with silicon here is that we need to create this hydrogen chloride gas. But that's something that's fairly easy to produce right here. Although it is going to create the problem of extra hydrogen and producing sodium hydroxide. So I wonder if instead we should just produce this gas somewhere else and send it up here. Because it only requires one chemical plant. So I wonder if we should just kind of put it down here. Well, let's figure out the numbers. So we need 75 hydrogen chloride gas. So that's 1.3 electrolyzers. So let's get this built here, and then we will get the gas up here. It is kind of annoying sending that gas all the way up, but we would have to move the sodium hydroxide around, which wouldn't be very far from here, but still, we'd have to move it around. We'd have to get saline water up here. We'd have to burn the hydrogen. It's probably just easier to run one extra pipe up here. And 75 per second is probably too much for drones, because that's going to be a drone every couple seconds. Okay, we need to copy this over. Right there. Set this to silicon. Then the final step is 8 of them, where they have to have an input of silicon ingot to create more ingots. Which is where it gets a little strange. But the way we can probably do this is have the output go down here, and then have stack inserters farther down the line, putting it onto the belt, and then have more inserters, looks like just yellows, picking them right back up off the belt and putting them in. We will have to kind of seed this to get it going, but I think that will work. And that's actually all we need. It's kind of a weird process, so you probably don't need to have everything on one side like this. So let's put the pipes in the middle, and let's kind of smooth this out a bit. There we go. Then we can kind of copy it over, but the inserters will be in the wrong spots. We'll have to move those separately. Okay, and we'll want to center this, which is right about here. I think right there. Nope, it's one lower. Then we need 5. Let's just say 6. Chemical furnaces. Probably should put some lights on this one. Making the trichlorosilane. See, this is actually going to create a byproduct of hydrogen as well. But I have the feeling we have way more hydrogen than we need, so I don't know if we necessarily want to send it all the way back. I mean, we could, because it's right there. Then we have our one yellow belt of input. And where can we put this? Well, ideally somewhere that's centered. How about right there? And let's copy this over. It looks like we need some more resources. So there we go. Set that to silicon. Need some lights in there, that ought to be fine. So now we need to get the gases up here. Alright, let's do this hydrogen chloride gas. We're already making some here, but it'd be easy enough just to make a separate setup. We need to have 2 electrolyzers, which we can do right here. Going into 1 chemical plant. Though I kind of want to do it fairly similarly to how it was done on this side. Actually, we can kind of do it just like this, really. A tank right there to absorb the hydrogen. And then any extra hydrogen can go through an overflow valve and then get sent on its way. And there we go. Now we need to find a convenient place to go back up here. And like we have before, we probably want to have a nice little buffer tank in here. There we go. You notice it looks like we're out of sulfuric acid, so we'll want to take care of that. But we could do that on the way back because we have some hydrogen we have to return. It's gonna be a little zigzag, but let's go down here. And right down here. Okay. Hydrogen is good. So why is sulfuric acid run out? Ah, water, of course. It's always water. So we need to get that hooked up. But we do need to get this hooked up to drain all these tanks, so... Okay, those tanks are empty. So we need to hook up this water. There we go. I really hope that's not a permanent problem, that was just a result of installing the mod on top of an existing save. Because I have to keep doing that all the time. That's going to get old. So we worked through the sulfur dioxide gas, and now we're working through the sulfur again. I notice this isn't really going at full blast. Perhaps if we hooked it up to different parts of the tank. Well, I think that'll work better, but the system produced its acid, so we'll have to find out later. Meanwhile, all of this looks like it's moving pretty fast. So this should be pretty good. Hydrogen chloride gas. Yep, looks like it. But we probably want to have another tank in here. Like right here. The pump going out. Just to make sure that stays empty. Okay. I think we have most everything we need. We just need to get the resources down here. So we'll just grab off of right there. See where this takes us. Right next door. Well, that's good enough. Here we go. So that's running and filling these up. Ah yes, but we actually need some silicon ingots to get the process started. And let's scatter these ingots across. Is that enough for each one to start? Looks like it. Looks like it's working. Looks like those yellow inserters just barely have enough time to keep up. But they are. So that's going to fill up to 10,000. And what's the factory look like here? We're definitely a little low. So processes are starting. The most ideal of which is right here, so there's a green light. But because the level is a little low, we've got a green light right here as well. So 2 different ones are running. Looks like it's falling behind. So once it gets below 4,000, another one should start up. It looks like it's this one right here. So the next one is... It's actually down here for aluminum, which we wanted to do 30 per second of, but we can wait for now and just go to silver here, which we need 15 of. Silver here is at the bottom. It's super easy. Just 2 blast furnaces. Let's get a copy of this. Move it over here so we have an idea of size. Then we can get rid of all the extra stuff. And a yellow will be fine. We'll just copy this. Come over here, and then we need to center it the best we can. Like right here. Go up. Centered, except that's not centered. Change that over to silver. And set this to silver ingots. So the ingots will come straight up there. And let's try to keep it symmetrical with the other setups, where the fuel comes in through there. And now it's time to get silver up here. Luckily, since it's kind of spaced over here because there's nothing here, hopefully that will help avoid the zigzag. There we go. A little bit less of a zigzag than before. This is probably going to nuke the system for a little while. It won't nuke it, because we've got 15,000. Yeah, I was thinking silver would be the thing we were low on, but it's typically silicon where that is the case. Although these are kind of falling behind. Wonder why that discrepancy is there. It seems like it should be enough, but it doesn't seem to be. Well, this is why we test. HomeMod can help you, but it won't build the factory for you. You've got to test everything yourself. That's looking good. Slowly building up silver. Okay. Next is zinc. And zinc is a little strange. It's a fairly small setup, but we need molten lead plus zinc plus oxygen, which will create lead ingots and the zinc ingots and sulfur dioxide gas. And then we need to take those lead ingots, turn it back into molten lead so the process can restart. And it's neutral. It doesn't actually use any lead. It's just a little weird, but it's only one machine, so we can place that anywhere. Looks like we're running out of machines, because I don't see any more in here. Ammonium is falling behind, which is a little troublesome, but once we expand the base, we'll make a bigger mine that will not have that problem anymore. So let's see, let's grab 3 chemical plants. And we need more space. So we need our 3 chemical furnaces making zinc ingots. And then the output is going to be both ingot types. That's okay. Actually going to need a red belt for this. And then we can have a priority splitter to grab those lead ingots. Send them to the side. You can have this guy right here making the molten lead and sending it through plastic pipes. Okay, that looks pretty good. Although we still need the inputs though. So perhaps let's pick this up and have our 15 per second go up there. Stack inserter, stack inserter, stack inserter. There we go. And we probably want some kind of buffer chest in here just to make sure the system is running smoothly. So let's just put a buffer in there and then we'll have to seed it in a second here. But that looks pretty good. And that's the whole setup. So the only thing we need to do is space it properly. Which we can do by grabbing this, putting it right here. But I guess we need the whole thing. So there we go. And then with this, we can center it right about here. Then come up to right about there. And I'm going to put it just over here so it's consistent with the rest of these as far as its location. Well, if that's the case, then we can just have red belts all the way up until here and then split it off. Seems pretty good. Let's seed it with some lead. Not sure how many stacks we want to grab. Let's just grab 4 of them for now. That doesn't have to be long. But we need to get some oxygen up here. Let's grab a copy of this. So that looks good. Not sure how many lead ingots we'll need, but let's just leave 200 in there and see how that works. Now we need to get the zinc up here. We probably need even more belts. So let's do zinc. We need 15 per second. We finally passed all of the mining stuff, so now we can just go straight up until there's trees. Let's see, for symmetry reasons, I'll come in through here. Still got to get this byproduct hooked up. And we can use this as the blueprint. So let's get it to the right one. It's the gas, which is up here. Okay. Let's see how this works. Oops, I need to set the filter on this guy. Output, left. Lead ingots. Okay. Seems pretty good. It's pretty uneventful. But it's only producing 15 per second. Or at least it's supposed to be. There we go. It's kind of creating a little bit of a backup. It's mostly okay, but let's upgrade that. Looking good. So now that we're done with this, all that we have left is aluminum. So aluminum is one we wanted to make 30 per second of. And it has 3 steps. Sodium hydroxide and aluminum go into powder mixer. And then blast furnace times 2. Let's switch this to use carbon since we're using it up here. And we probably could do some direct insertion for all of that. So we've got powder mixers. Luckily they're small. Let's do 16 of them. So it looks like we can have two inputs right here. One of them is aluminum and one is sodium hydroxide. And they're pretty slow. So yellow inserters all around. Something like this. Let's copy it again. Okay, let's copy a little bit more. There's our 8. Hope we didn't get the long-handed inserters in here. Let's copy this over again for spacing. Although in this case, we probably want to have 2 storehouses. One for the sodium hydroxide and one for the aluminum. And this will be the new place where we store sodium hydroxide. Since right now, this is the only use we have for it. And it's a pretty rare resource, so it's something we definitely want to use it for. Let's kind of line it up with these other machines. And perhaps put it right here. We can use some loaders in there. So now we need to see if we can do this with some direct insertion. So there's the alumina. And it's just aluminum hydroxide goes in and alumina comes out. This one requires carbon in the alumina to make the ingots. And then the fuel can go straight up the middle. So there we go, and that'll produce 30 per second. We do regular, regular, near, near. So let's pick it up and figure out what works best for it. Probably want to have it centered right here. Like right there. Okay. We also need to bring the alumina in, which could be on this side. It actually needs to be red. Okay. Then the fuel. Looks like the proper space is 2 gaps right there. So there goes the carbon, and we can replace this belt with the yellow one now. Get rid of our marker. There we go, something like this. And we definitely want the logic in here. Set up for aluminum. Okay. Well, now we gotta move all of our sodium hydroxide in here, which means we gotta build a road. And looks like we got some pesky trees still. There we go. So let's come in here. Take out this request depot. I was hoping we'd be done with those barrels, but it doesn't look like it quite yet. So I think we need to manually remove all of the sodium hydroxide out of all of these. Okay. Well, because I don't feel like moving all that stuff by hand, let's make a supply depot here. Just connect it by that, and it'll just drain all those out, and we can pick everything up when it's gone. This is basically a temporary setup, so we can just kind of leave it to its own devices. Because basically we need to get all this stuff moved. So we got our request depot. Let's just put a loader in here. And a loader there. And we want sodium hydroxide in. Let's just put all the drones in there for now so we get it as quickly as possible. 11 is such an odd number. While we're waiting for those to get moved, one thing we might want to do is move this road up here and connect it. Because anything that has to come from right here, like the sodium hydroxide, would be like all the way there, and that takes forever. So yes, it's possible this road might block some other machines, but it's also just a drone road. And it's fairly trivial to just move it. And there they go. Off to pick up the sodium hydroxide. Okay. Last belt. And it's right here. And the final zigzag. Let's just cut it off here. Give everything a chance to populate. We are out of oxygen. That is worth checking up on. Oh, it's fine here. Oh, I just unhooked it. Oh, that's dumb. Well, it's fixed. Just checking all of our ingots here. 10K, 10K. 31K, but that's alright. Looking good. We do need a radar in here. It's kind of a weird spot, but we definitely want to be able to see. There we go. Now we can see. Still kind of full on the things we were full on before, but nothing's completely clogged. Looks like that's definitely getting full again. Probably want to make another trip just to pick all that up. Problem is all my vehicles are full of junk right now. Well, looks like the drones arrived. They're slowly filling up with sodium hydroxide. Not sure how long all this stuff's going to last, but we'll give it a shot and see. But let's see how this works. Looks pretty good. Seems to be going pretty good. Now we're building up aluminum. There we go. Wasn't too bad. And there is the ore processing setup. With lots of nice big gaps in case new processing types happen. Like these are definitely squished in there, but hopefully with these other types we will have room to kind of expand upwards and in there and improve productivity while not having to move any of these. And they leave lots of space right here for an extra tier of ore sorting that can fit in right here. This could expand out to the left if it needs to for more ingot types. And it looks like we're pretty good. So the step after this, and the final step here, is turning those ingots into plates. And specifically alloys, because we're going to have lots of different choices of how we're going to get this set up. And we're going to need to set up some logic to make that happen. But that's going to have to wait until the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.